Greetings and salutations. My name is Colin Moriarty. This is Greg Miller blowing on his coffee. It doesn't look like there's anything in that cup.
It's there.
Oh,
it's a deep cup. It's a Sucker Punch cup from the makers, from the people who brought you Infamous. Comes a deep coffee mug full of coffee.
Now, distressingly, I wasn't paying any attention when you were starting the show. Did you show the Moon Knights clip, or are we gonna? All right, so
you told me not to do that.
Oh, no, I thought you were gonna. No. I thought we had a misunderstanding.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna do Geraldo, then do the Moon Knights. So let's start with the most important news right now, Greg.
You lay it on me.
Let's start with the most important news right now.
Yeah.
Geraldo, we're retiring Geraldo starting today. We're gonna put the data from the video onto a floating Viking like funeral pyre and send it down the Rhine River, for instance, let's say, and then we'll send it into the Great Abyss, and we're gonna replace it.
So
with
I'm putting the Geraldo footage onto a USB, putting it onto a river, sending it out, and then sending it on fire.
Well, you're missing them. We have to find a Viking burial ship.
I feel like that's the easiest part of this whole thing. That's the easy part.
Is finding the Viking ship?
Yeah, a little ship we make out of little sticks and put down.
That's not what a Viking ship is, though.
I think it is.
The dragon head in the front, and it's very ornate. People are rowing.
You can just buy those on Etsy, though. That's simple.
Anyway, Greg, we're going to replace it with this clip. I want you to show it to the people right now.
Okay.
We are the Moonanites, and our culture is advanced beyond all that you can possibly comprehend with 100% of your brain.
Oh, is that so? And what's so advanced about it?
Well, for one thing, the moon has 1/3 less gravity than your Earth. I don't know if you can understand that, but our vertical leap is beyond all measurement.
I like how it just stops. There's no more. What is Johnny Damon? Johnny Damon's the one at the end of the Geraldo clip?
Yes.
Unmute your computer for a second.
Unmute it.
I'll let it go. Let it fly. Perfect. All right, cool. There's like 3 people spread into the comments early on that said no sound, and everybody else said everything sounds great, everything looks great. Oh, new angle, blah, blah. I didn't understand why 3 people would have no sound. That didn't make any sense to me.
This gentleman, or maybe it's a lady, T-Long X18 says my video and audio are way out of sync.
That's on him.
Let me see here.
That's on.
Not for us.
Yeah, that's on your side. That's an understandable one. When it's everybody's got no sound. So far, we're getting closer to having one day.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah. Can you put one on? How does it work?
Precariously close.
You tell me when to put one on. I don't care.
Greg, let's talk about. Let's start.
V2 Drake just subscribed.
Let's start here.
Much.
Thank you for that. Let's start here
By explaining what we are, who we are, what we do.
For the uninitiated, Colin and Greg Live is on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, where you are right now, every weekday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We go for about an hour and a half, talk about all things nerd culture, mostly games, but also movies, television shows, comics, whatever is relevant that day.
Whatever nerdy thing we want to talk
Today,
about.
will be mostly games, although we do touch a little bit on TV and movies. But Greg, I want to start somewhere unexpected.
In the Great Abyss?
I want to start somewhere unexpected.
You're taking me to Etsy to buy a Viking ship to get rid of Geraldo.
Incorrect.
Okay, my apologies.
I tweeted this morning about something that distressed me very much. And I want to talk about it, even though it has nothing to do with what we do here.
Okay.
Because we're just going to talk about it anyway. It comes from Think Progress. And the story is this. Oklahoma lawmakers vote overwhelmingly to ban advanced placement U.S. history. Now, this is an issue to me because the one thing I love more than video games is history and American history. I love it. It was what I studied in college. I've been obsessed with it. I knew I was going to study it. Much like you knew you were going to be a video game journalist when you were very young.
Right.
I knew from the age of 5 or 6, literally, that I was going to be a historian. And then I ended up not being a historian.
Right.
But I went to Northeastern for history, whatever, and I hold history very close to my heart. And AP History, AP US History was one of the AP classes. I took 3 or 4 of them in high school. That was one of the classes, and it was really one of the first eye-opening historical endeavors I ever took that turned me on to Howard Zinn and all sorts of things that let you know that the Henry Adams kind of history isn't necessarily the way that it is.
Gotcha.
Now, this is distressing simply because it says, an Oklahoma legislative committee overwhelmingly voted to ban advanced placement U.S. history class, persuaded by the argument that it only teaches students what is bad about America. Other lawmakers are seeking a court ruling that would effectively prohibit the teaching of all AP courses in public schools.
That's
Oklahoma Representative Dan Fisher has introduced emergency legislation prohibiting the expenditure of funds of the advanced placement U.S. history course. Fisher is part of a group called the Black Robe Regiment. That doesn't sound evil at all. Which argues, quote, argues, quote, the church and God himself have been under assault, marginalized, and diminished by the progressives and secularists. The group attacks, quote, the false wall of separation of church and state. The Black Robe Regiment claims, quote, a growing tide of special interest groups indoctrinating our youth at the exclusion of the Christian perspective. So I went off on this because
Because number one, he's another guy making the Republican Party look bad.
Yes, but it ties in with a conversation with Colin that went on today about American history and American Revolution.
Just like we planned it.
And I talked about perspectives and differing perspectives. And I wanted to share this with the audience, not because they necessarily care about U.S. history or American history AP courses, but this is a good example of closed-mindedness. This is a good example of indoctrinating the youth with things that might fit a certain narrative but aren't necessarily true. And what I tweeted out today was that American history, and I know American history very intimately, is fascinating, and sometimes it's inspiring, and sometimes it's really dark. And what I talked about was the American Revolution, the revolutionaries, the founders were very smart people. Many of them owned slaves, right?
Yeah.
We won World War II and helped save the world from tyranny. Yet we imprisoned our own Japanese citizens.
Internment camps.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's always another side of the story. And I just want to encourage everyone out there to just keep that in mind, that this story is very indicative of a distressing societal norm that's happening, where if you feel like your kids aren't learning a certain thing or aren't being taught the truth, that you go into the courts and you basically just ban the truth. And you tell them what you think they want to hear. This happened with bullshit, frankly, like creationism, and now it's happening with history.
Yeah, that's the other part.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
It's also just, it seems a bit, not even narrow-minded, it just seems a bit off the mark. You're just going to hear about the bad stuff in the regular school, the regular history class. You just, I guess, won't get the in-depth coverage of it, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that you're going to get, if you have to get through everything that is American history, maybe you don't have time to get into the fact that, yeah, we had slaves too, and internment camps or whatever. But it seems a bit weird. I wouldn't recommend this.
No,
I think Oklahoma should change. Everybody tweet at Oklahoma. I assume that's their Twitter handle. Tell them you don't like that.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This kind of stuff is just distressing and, again, indicative of a larger thing that has nothing to do with AP history and nothing to do with creationism and nothing to do with all these things, yet it is a trend forward of just saying, well, I don't like what you're hearing, and so I want to teach you something else.
Sure.
Evolution is fact, right? It is. It's a theory like gravity is a theory.
Yeah, there's no way to prove it.
You know what I mean? Like, it is true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And history...
Unless God buried the bones to throw us off the trail.
And American history especially has plenty of primary sources that people can learn from and interpret. But this is just really weird and distressing stuff, and I wanted to bring it up. So that's it.
All right.
On to actual real news, Greg.
Well,
actually, this is maybe the only piece of real news that actually we're going to talk about today. Good point.
We might skew a little bit differently than that now. I'm Dutch. I have no idea what AP history is. Advanced placement history. It's for when you're so good at history, they say, do you want to take the advanced class, correct? Honors. It's like honors algebra.
At my high school, honors was honors, and then AP was its own. Like,
it gets you ready for college.
And you get college credit. So I took like AP European history, AP American history, AP English, like literature, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. My right brain kind of thing going on.
Sure.
But people take AP chemistry, or AP physics, AP astronomy, whatever. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Of course, it is a very divisive topic. Some people believe in creationism. Some people believe that maybe this is what we should do. We should teach things like American exceptionalism and stuff like that. But
Edemy just resubscribed. Sorry.
Thank you for resubscribing.
Edamame, maybe, I don't know.
But you know, I read this morning. People have been tweeting at this, and I just haven't been clicking on it for a day. And I just read it this morning. I'm like, fuck, man. Like,
well, this goes back to what we've talked about before in a conversation with Colin on a few of the other shows, right? Of just not. Why would you ever not want to hear the other side? Why would you not want? When you pick a position and you're like, I'm only going to listen to people with the same position as me, you immediately start fucking up. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be challenged on your beliefs, right? And what you think and how you feel, so you can grow and become a better person and understand the other side. When you silo everything off, when you silo each other off, it's going to be that, like, this is like getting into fucking, like, 1984 shit, right? Where it's going to be, you see it 20 years from now, 25 years from now, when everything's off the rails and they've, like, whitewashed history and we just look like these amazing people. Clearly, we're the villains of whatever story. Whoever's rebelling against that is the hero.
Yeah, like the Ministry of Truth kind of 1984 kind of shit. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because...
A couple people are yelling in here that evolution is not fact.
Evolution is fact.
It's a theory.
It's a theory. It's a theory that has just a ridiculous amount of proof, including in your very own genetic makeup. But, you know, that's the point.
I'm just throwing out. I just don't want you to have... I'm with you, obviously. Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. But I just don't want you to immediately give yourself something people to jab you with a sharp stick on, and then say they don't have to listen to you. I want people to listen to you. You're a very smart man. Annoying? Sure. Make you angry all the time? Of course.
Listen
Trouble
or not.
to live with? Oh.
Listen or not, it's really up to you. But I wanted to throw that out there because, again, it's just
Thanks, Player 3 podcast.
it's just a bizarre place we're in right now. You know what I mean? And it also goes back to this argument of, well, give everything equal credence, right?
Right.
Creationism and evolution are both theories. Like, like global warming and like the Earth is getting warmer. Why is it getting warmer? Well, we don't really know. Probably some pollution, probably some solar activity. But let's not deny that it's happening. You know what I mean? And the same thing with U.S. history. Like, we have a proud history, but we also have a dark and sordid history, and you have to accept it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is what it is.
You gotta love it for all its warts.
Whatever.
Just like I love you with all your warts.
Yeah, all million of them. Greg.
Yeah.
Let's get into real news now.
Real news or real fake news?
Real fake news.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. I don't even know where to begin because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on today with Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo.
Really? All three out here swinging hard.
Yeah, and I think, oh, geez. Oh, dear.
If we tap these walls, they'll come down on us. These brick walls aren't as stable as they look. Also, a couple people freaked out in the beginning. We changed the perspective of the room.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even
a lot of people, we figured we do so much in this room, our studio, that we're running into trouble, like we talk about all this time on the shows, that we're so busy and we're so stressed out and there's so much content to do, that really flipping the rooms takes a lot of time to do stuff. So we're going to try this so we can just keep doing the podcast here, too, and see if that works out better. What do you think of it? Let us know. Obviously, we need to fill in this here. This is a big problem for me. Bricks. Sexy bricks.
And what I love about talking about things like politics and
Yeah.
science and religion and stuff is how deeply offended some people get by it, Greg.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird. People challenge me all the time. I don't care.
All right, hold on. Let's just go down. Let's go in all in.
Okay.
Lethal Bellyman says, question, if, as Greg says, you should always be open to hearing other side, then why are people so against hearing creationism? Not saying I believe it, but is it ever good to ban opinions and theories?
Well, creationism in America is typically young Earth creationism. And that says that the Earth is maybe 5, 6, 7,000 years old, which is bullshit. So, like, why should we teach that? There were humans walking around on Earth 5, 6, 7,000 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know that it's not true. We know it's not true.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like when you're basing, in my opinion, when you base with science, history's not science, right? When you have science and it's based on laws and it's based on numbers and it's based on things you can see and feel and touch and taste or whatever. One is based on trying to fit a worldview in via a book that was written by humans and then translated, right? Over and over and over again.
The Bible now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Genesis, specifically.
Sure.
Right? The other says, hey, like, there are these animals that seem to have taken on the form of different animals and over time, like, have evolved to their surroundings, and men have gone and women have gone and looked around the world and have identified in the 19th century, maybe even earlier if you go back before Darwin, and said, there's something strange about this. And let's look into it more. And now that we're in the 21st century and we realize, well, like, we share almost entirely the genetic makeup of other animals with the exception of little tweaks and stuff like that, it's just obvious. We have fossils that show that animals have come from other animals and so on and so forth, and even at the microorganism scale. So I am no scientist, Greg, but
yeah,
I read the literature and I try to take what people are saying at face value, and what this basically would say to me is that just science generally is just lying to us.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing with global warming, where it's like, I wish that global warming wasn't real because it is destructive, obviously, the Earth, but it also hinders economic progress and all these kinds of things. But the fact is that there are a lot of signs that things are really fucked up. We live in California, where we have a massive historic drought going on right now. Meanwhile, in other places in the country, we'll talk about it in a little while because it's interesting, it's freezing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like historically cold. I think people mistake that global warming is probably a misnomer. It's climate change in the way things deal with climate. But
climate extremities.
To me, it's like, it's just strange to like give equal weight to things that don't deserve equal weight. Now, sure, like if you want to give equal weight, if you want to go to history and say, like, well, why did we get involved with World War II? Was it to stop the Nazis, or was it for our own self-interest, or was it because the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor? All these things, these are all theories that deserve equal weight because they all have equal weight in terms of historical scholarship.
Sure.
But it's a little different in science, I think. You know what I mean? Like,
the interesting
evidence
thing for me,
is evidence.
The creation is, here's the thing. I went to Catholic school, K through 12, until I went to college, was at a Catholic school. Had religion class and had science class, and I didn't hear about creationism until I was in college, and this became a movement of people trying to teach that. For me, it was so simple to have it broken into two separate things, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I didn't read when I was taught the Bible in theology classes, or when I read about it in religion classes, or all these other things, I don't think I was sitting there. For me, they lived in the same hand, right? Adam and Eve, to me, weren't Adam and Eve. The whole story, I'm reading the Bible to get these stories, not as fact like I'm reading the newspaper, but as parables, right? To instruct us on how to live, who these people were, how this all worked, obviously, and went down. It wasn't so much that when I read Adam and Eve in Genesis, that I really thought that's how God created the earth. Now, I talk about this all the time, and certain things, when I start thinking about what we are, how we are, I still believe in God, all these things. There's millions of conversations, and we'll get to video games and toys here in a second. I believe
The important stuff.
I believe in God and all these different things, right? But I do wonder, you and I always talk about, right, the Big Bang and all this stuff, and I don't understand how we came from nothing. There had to have been something. How did that start? What did that mean? How does that work? And I believe in the science and everything there, but I do believe in a divine creator doing something as well, and then being a part of my life as well. You know what I mean? So for me, they can work hand in hand, do this different stuff, but to sit there, and I'm getting out of my wheelhouse. I've kicked around that theory before of what if life, as I know it here, only exists for me, right? Because I know what's happening in my brain at any point. I don't know what you're thinking, what's happening. How you process, how you feel, right? We can talk about touches and tastes, but like how you think and stuff like that. Like, what if the world was different for every person? What if it was broken down like that? And what if this is just my world kind of thing? You know what I mean? Kind of like Boy Meets World, where the world put my foot on it or whatever. But I wouldn't go teach that in class, at least not in a science class. Maybe I'd have a talk about it in why am I dropping on this?
Theology?
Thank you very much. No, not theology. Whatever. Doesn't philosophy. Maybe it's a philosophy course. I'd try to work this into or do something else. But it's so weird, so bizarre. And now let's talk about video games.
No, I mean, I'm with you, man. I mean, and some people are upset that we're talking about this. I mean, that's fine. You'd be upset. You don't have to watch it.
I was going to say, there's 100 other shows.
But I like to talk about science. We like to talk about real things. I mean, I want this show to be about games, but I want it to be about more than that, too.
It's a conversational show.
Yeah, it sounds familiar to me. But yeah, it was just, I brought it up because it's just like, I'm so, like, when Bill Nye debated that guy Ken Ham about creationism versus evolution, where it was like, Ken Ham was like, I was just like, I'm like, this guy's really smart. But I'm like, the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, this is just weird. Like, talking about the flood and all this kind of stuff, like, oh my God, like, really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, some people think it's offensive to religion to talk like that, but, like, what people don't understand, maybe specifically about me, is I come from a deeply Catholic family. My parents are very religious people, and we have these kind of debates. My dad, who is he's an usher at his local church, and, all these kind of gives out the host and all that kind of stuff, is one of those guys that's like, no, of course the earth isn't 5 or 10,000 years old. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Genesis is open to interpretation. What does a day mean in Genesis, and like all these kinds of things, but regardless,
I'm not trying to stop you.
No, it's fine. So it's like it's the same thing. We can't. I think what it comes down to with this particular argument is that we have to look at ourselves as being small and inconsequential, and I really think that's important. It's almost very vain and self-congratulatory to be like, oh, God put us on this planet, and He's there for us, and He created all these things for us, and it's like, no, I think we're just kind of here by happenstance. I think it's somewhat obvious that that's true at this point. The Earth has a 5 billion year history that can be demonstrated in the geologic record.
Sure.
Organisms on the Earth have hundreds of millions of years history on the Earth, again demonstrated through the fossil record.
Yeah.
There are really some people that suggest that or some theories that suggest that like dinosaur bones were planted, or that dinosaurs walked with humans.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that didn't happen.
I hear you.
So why would that be given equal weight? That with something that has been scientifically scrutinized for almost 200 years.
See, and again, somebody's coming down to if you, well, they're asking me if I want to hear both sides, if I want to let people challenge their beliefs, why shouldn't this be taught? I think that's the point. Is the creationism, I don't understand the proof of creationism.
Yeah, there is no proof.
And if the Bible is the only proof, that doesn't work for me either, because it's been translated, moved around so much. What does this mean? Or there's talk now about, maybe when they were talking about homosexuality, it didn't mean what it means now, and da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these different things to it, and that's why I'm happier with the religion class that I took versus the science class that I took, and not having them merged into one.
Yeah, religion...
Even though I think both theories, or whatever, can exist in the same thing. Not that creationism is... This goes back to me again, what I'm just saying. Maybe in my world, when I justify how God works in my life and how I see the presence of a greater being, that's great for me, but I wouldn't go make that a class and make that part of the Oklahoma state law.
Yeah, I think that we've talked about this on Conversation with Colin a long time ago, that one of the things I respect most is faith, religious faith. I respect it a great deal. I consider myself like a deist and maybe even an atheist, where like I believe, maybe there's some sort of power that we don't understand. I don't think it's like an omnipotent or omniscient power. I don't think that it's something that even knows we're here or cares that we're here or even knows to know that we, you know what I mean? Like, it's so, I don't know. Again, it's so vain to think like, oh, we're special. We're not. And, we have this precious little time on this precious planet. I'm sure that there are other planets with other beings and all these kinds of things mathematically. Fermi, what is it, the Fermi paradox or whatever. But, no, Drake equation. That's what it is, Drake equation.
Like the rapper?
Yeah, he was the one who wrote.
Is Drake a rapper? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like to me, it's just, I don't know. I'm so fascinated by this equal weight thing, to give equal weight to arguments, because if creationism, which has really no scientific proof at all, can be given equal weight to evolution, which has plenty of equal weight, then I'm just going to make up my own theory right now. We came from space on a meteor and we crashed into the Earth, like the Chimera and Resistance, and now we're here. So I want that to be given even weight as well to evolution, which has been scrutinized by hundreds of thousands of scientists over 200 years, and is pretty much conclusive at this point. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I was saying earlier. Again, I have my own theories on how it works, how existence works, what a god means. But again, that's for something to sit around with a nice glass of bourbon and discuss with friends or theologians.
Yes. Theologians?
No, theologians.
Yeah. So anyway, like
Colin McLaughlin, nerding news every day.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Yeah, I guess you can call us nerdy.
I knew Colin was a chimera.
Regardless, you can everyone's it's our show.
Yeah.
So so I wanted to throw that out there. Let's be honest. You're not mad at me that I threw that topic out there today, because I told you I was going to open it with it this morning.
No, I don't know. We can come on here and talk about fucking shoes for an hour and a half. I don't care what we do on the show.
Do you want to do that?
Sure. The whole point of
this, on April 1st, we should come in.
The whole point of us doing this show was that, we could talk about whatever's happening in the world and whatever we want. I mean, people are still here. They're talking. They're in the chat having conversations with each other, with us. Like, that's the whole point of this experience and what Kind of Funny is. It's us talking to you. And it is more than Kind of Funny games. It's kind of funny and everything. This show is a little bit conversational with Colin, a little bit oration, a little bit Let's Plays, a little bit this. And it's every day. So if you, at any point, are like, I don't want, they're going on way too long, feel free to leave. Come back tomorrow. Come back in 30 minutes. Maybe we'll be on something different.
Scamper off.
Yeah.
And come back at your convenience.
I got my eyes on you.
Colin,
Drake, right?
I have no idea. So I only know Drake from appearances as a guest rapper on other rappers that I actually listen to, i.e. Bun B.
I can't tell if Tim's on the phone enough to answer or if he can answer my Drake questions.
So, Greg,
yeah.
Let's drop the science and theological talk and the American history talk for something much more important.
I like how we open with, there's a lot of news with Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox, 30 minutes on religion and Chimera.
All right. I want to start with, this is actually the weirdest news, and so I want to start with a Kotaku story by Jason Schreier, again, one of the really well-respected journalists in gaming industry, one of the guys that's really breaking a lot of stories.
Yeah.
It is about Phantom Dust. Now, this is an interesting story. For people that don't know, Phantom Dust is an original Xbox exclusive, so Xbox One.
Yeah.
Xbox. Okay. Original, OG Xbox.
The big black one.
Exactly. And so, I think that at some point Microsoft is going into their...
Dirty Disco?
Was going into their limited array of exclusive IP because they're just a younger brand than, say, Nintendo or PlayStation. And they identified Phantom Dust, which they revealed at E3, where they were going to remake again. Everyone's like, okay.
Yeah.
And the only person...
Vince Ingenito flipped the fuck out.
And that was the only thing that I was confused about, was that Vince was literally the only person that was excited, as far as I can understand, that this was happening, because the game didn't sell very well, whatever. Nonetheless, they announced that this game was being remade. It looked pretty. The cutscene we saw was pretty cool. Guy sitting on the bench, whatever. And Jason broke this bizarre story to me yesterday, and it says independent development studio Darkside Games, which is working on the planned reboot of the cult classic Phantom Dust, shut down this afternoon in the wake of news that Microsoft had canceled their version of the game. Kotaku has learned. Wow. Around 50 people lost their jobs, according to sources at the studio. Microsoft, however, says that they're still working on the upcoming Xbox One reboot, though they won't say who's now making the game or whether the new developer will use what Darkside had already created. Quote, Microsoft partnered with Darkside Game Studios in the development of Phantom Dust, but our working relationship has now ended. We have great respect for their studio and their work in the industry. While we do not have anything new to share on Phantom Dust at this time, we can confirm that development of the title continues. We look forward to sharing more details on the game as we get closer to release, end quote. First of all, our very best goes out to the guys that used to work at Darkside, the guys and gals, because 50 people lost their jobs because of this. But I think this brings up an interesting point. An interesting, understand how the game was announced and what went wrong with the game in the 6 or 7 months since then. That the game was, it wasn't canceled because they're moving it to another studio or doing something with it.
Yeah.
But they were just removed from this game. You know, isn't that strange to you?
Very strange, incredibly strange. I mean, like what could have happened? You know what I mean? Like what did these guys do?
I don't know. Something is fundamentally wrong with the
at
game.
each other's throats. You imagine, and like they're just not getting along with Microsoft. Because I mean, this guy's hair looks great.
I know the hair
Let's
looks
not
awesome.
lie to each other.
The trees look great. The leaves look great. The bird looks awesome.
Bird looks amazing.
Bird physics.
Bird physics. That's next gen. It's only 480 because it's just a rip. Yeah, it's bizarre that this. I mean, you don't hear about this generally, right? Like this thing we had a big deal about that Vince and Janito flipped out about, and Zyger in the chat, one of our mods and lovely friends of the show here, was talking about how he flipped out for this too. So it's just weird. It's another. I can't wait to hear the real story behind it. I mean, you think that they were? So what do you think's happening? They didn't like the game. They had a bad working relationship. They were missing deadlines. They are also working on a PlayStation project. They talk shit about Microsoft. I mean, what do you think happened?
I don't know. My theory is, and as we often say, the studio, or rather, the story behind games is often more interesting than the games themselves.
Sure. Yeah, I would have never played this, but I want to hear more about it.
Yeah, and my theory, I mean, Occam's razor, kind of, where like the simplest explanation is probably that they didn't like where the game was going.
Sure.
And they were like, we need to take it now and give it to someone else. But God, like that must have happened in the last 6 months. Because I don't quite understand what could have gone wrong in that short amount of time. Certainly, the game was already in pre-production and being developed at that point.
So I mean, you have the design doc, you have all this stuff, you make a big deal about it at E3, and then in that 6 months, like you're saying, they get a level demo. We don't like this. Change this. We're not going to change that. We're not going to do that. We don't want to. You know what I mean? Like I understand where it all spirals off.
So, I don't know.
There's more to that story, I'll tell you what.
There is, and so we appreciate Jason over at Kotaku breaking that
Jason's
story.
Jason's great. Remember when he came to the office? You spent a whole week at IGN, and you were like, oh, this Jason guy's doing this amazing stuff. I forget, it was which one? It was some studio's closure that he was reporting on. And then he came through, and we met him, and you were like, you do good work. And he's like, thanks, man, I hate you. And you were like, what?
Well, I feel like there was only really, very few people in the industry doing real investigative journalism.
Yeah.
And I felt like I might have been one of them sometimes because I didn't have time to always write the way I wanted to write, but my history pieces were something like that.
Yeah.
I always admired Jason because he did it all the time.
Yeah.
Like when you trace back a lot of stories to their kind of embryonic state, like where they began, they often start with him.
Yeah.
Whether it's the new Assassin's Creed leak, something like this, a studio closure, a game being canceled, whatever. A lot of it starts with him, and I don't know how the hell he does it, but
he's got them connects.
Good for him.
Not like the Connect.
Greg,
yeah.
Let's move on to PlayStation news. The order 1886 just simply will not go away, so we have to continue to
tomorrow.
And it's not even out yet. Oh yeah, that's right.
Tomorrow, 5 a.m. right here, we're streaming the Order 1886. You can come if you can't wake up at 5 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is 1 p.m. GMT. I think it's on my little graphic. Then it'll be on demand here as well, though, tomorrow at 5 a.m. over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. We'll be putting up our review discussion where we've played it, we've beaten it. Here's what we think. Here's how long it took us. Here's what we think of the story.
Did you beat it? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What did you think of it? Redacted.
Yeah. So tomorrow you get all that information.
I'm interested to hear what you think of it. Did you get all the trophies?
No, I'm short on. I need to. Nice try. You almost got me to bite on something there because there's a question I have for you about how
I wasn't trying to get you to bite on anything. Reginald,
I guess I can talk about it.
just subscribed. Thank you.
I'm short on. I didn't get the Incinerate one, so I have a question for you on how to go back and do that. And then I'm short collectibles too. But I'm just gonna wait for
you. Are you missing all of the collectibles?
No, you're missing one collectible, and I didn't get.
I just want to kill myself.
I must be missing a photo, a reel.
Okay.
I'm missing more than. I didn't get any of the collectible trophies.
That's too bad. Oh my God, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be like impossible for you to track.
No, it isn't. They all have names.
More on that tomorrow.
I think it's going to be a really easy platinum to go back when I can go say, I need this and this. All right, that's where that is.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
Okay.
I got my eyes on you.
All right.
Where are we going? What are we
Order 1886. The Order 1886. Our friend Eddie over at GameSpot wrote a story that's, I think, really interesting. So, basically, to catch anyone up that's kind of maybe just joining us for the first time or hasn't been caught up on this Order 1886 news, and if you're a gamer, it's hard for me to believe that you're not caught up on this, but anything is possible. The rumor going around about Order 1886 is the game's perceived short length.
Yeah.
And a YouTube video went up earlier, I guess this past weekend, that indicated that the game was 5 hours long, that a person played through the game in 5 hours from front to end. And the video's on YouTube. The thing is that, as Andrea Pacino from the CTO of Ready at Dawn had come out and said, I guess you could beat the game in 5 hours if you want. I'm paraphrasing him, but like you ran through it and played it on easy, and like
you didn't look for collectibles. You ran through it. You
like any game could be
skip
beaten
cutscenes.
like that.
Did he?
You can't skip cutscenes in the order. But
I never tried.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But I read that in one of the stories, or whatever, and I was like, that's a good point. But Andrea Pacino said something more like it'll take like our internal test only about 8 hours, 10 hours maybe. And anyway, the stuff keeps kind of going on, the controversy of this game, and I'm kind of like Ready at Dawn. It kind of sucks because them because first of all the game we talked about this, the game went gold so early that it was done early, that it was printed early, and all this kind of stuff, and therefore you feed into this environment. And we'll get into that in a minute because I think you're going to be seeing a lot less of this moving forward with PlayStation exclusives. How readily available they were to retailers and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
They set themselves up pretty badly, actually.
Well, it's just one of those things that can't go away. So this morning I tweet out, right? And I'm like, hey, our live stream's here, 5 a.m. Come watch us play The Order, right? And then immediately a whole bunch of people come up and they're like, oh, it's going to be a short stream. I screen capped this and sent it back. These are the first 3 responses all together. Like, everyone is just like so enraptured with this, that this is the one thing people are talking about for The Order. And you wish, if you're Ready at Dawn, if you're PlayStation, if you have good news that you would have pushed the embargo, right? Or say to reviewers, please tweet how long it took you to beat the game. And if not, then you're like, fuck, we got to make sure these games are longer.
And this brings up another. We'll talk about this in a minute because it brings up another question of what is the perceived length of the game versus the value of the game and all these kinds of things. But over at GameSpot, they wrote a story. Eddie wrote a story.
With these 2 clowns.
They're our friends. The Order 886 dev says, quote, internet is the new playground for bullies, end quote. And what the story says is, quote, the internet is the new playground for bullies, end quote, according to the Order 1886 creator Ready at Dawn. In a new interview, the studio talks about the hate-filled nature of the internet and again speaks out to discuss the ongoing controversy surrounding the length of the upcoming PlayStation 4 game. Game director Dana Jean told Develop that when discussing quantity, the Order 1886 was first pegged to only be 5 hours long, something Ready at Dawn has since denied. So that's, I guess, context. The element of the quality must also factor into the equation. Quote, so our game is extremely focused on the gameplay to the storytelling to pretty much everything. Frequently, I'm saying when you play our game, you're going to be on a roller coaster of variety, twists, turns. There's no filler, you're never grinding in our game, end quote. Jana went on to say that the Order 1886 has been designed so that players face off against different enemies using different weapons frequently through the game. It was important that players don't feel like they're doing the same thing over and over again, he said. Returning to the topic of game length in particular, Jan offered a way to think about it involving food. Quote, if you go and eat a steak, if you pay $100 for a steak that tastes like the best steak you've ever had in your life, but it's only 200 grams, versus paying the same price for the worst steak you would want, but it's all you can eat. There's an argument to be made that one is better than the other depending on who you are. If you want to just be full all the time, then all you can eat terrible steak. Maybe that's for you. End quote. And I thought that was an interesting way of putting it.
That's a really good point. A really good analogy.
And he goes on to say, I'm not saying that it has to be polarizing. I'm just asking, why do we feel like we always have to measure things first and foremost in terms of quantity? Which is why for our game we targeted a very good length of the game, but it wasn't our priority, end quote. And I think that's a really salient way of putting it. I talk a lot about Journey. I spent all of 90 minutes total in my entire life with Journey, which ended up being one of the most resonating and important moments of my gaming history.
Sure.
And I won't go back and play it because it was so powerful.
Yeah.
Journey you could bought for I think $19.99 when it came out, or maybe $14.99. That game's worth hundreds of dollars to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like it is about the perceived context of what you think of as quantity versus quality, and how sometimes you want a game to be longer, and we all know what that feels like, but a lot of times a game is a good length and you don't need to see more of it. Sometimes you play a game that is padded just to see the end when you really want it to be over 10 hours ago.
Yep.
So this whole fixation on the length is really troubling to me.
It's something that's been there. I mean, I remember when we were kids and we'd save up our allowance or money and you go work and you buy this game and you're hoping that one, it's good, and two, that it's going to last you forever, right? Because it took you so long to save this money. And so now we're in this ecosystem where that still happens, but then people can go online and vent about it or do whatever about it. And I think it comes down to the fact that, like, it's the way the hype machine works for video games, right? And the fact that The Order, that first trailer debuts, it looks amazing, it's stunning, and we're like, yeah, and then it's years of being like, I am so fucking excited for The Order based on the little bit I knew about the story or whatever, the alternate history, steampunks and stuff like that, and then this trailer I saw, right? And so then that's when people run to it and they wrap themselves up in it and they put that cloak on of like, I love this so much already and I don't know anything about it. And that's why at first glance of gameplay you go and see it and you come back and you're like, hey everybody, this doesn't run so well. And rather than people go, interesting. I wonder if they go, fuck you, you don't have to fuck your time, because they're wrapped up in this already 3 to 6 months belief that this is going to be the, I forget who, I was trying to remember this the other day. I remember getting a text from one of my friends who isn't one of us. He has a wife and a family and all these different things and a real job outside of video games. And he saw that debut teaser and texted me and said, this is it, man. This is the one I'm excited for, right? Knowing nothing else about it. So you figure a year and a half of hype, all of this stuff wrapped up and being like, man, this is all I want out of this fucking game. Yeah. And then you get to this point now and all, it's just bad news. It seems like bad news after bad news when really it's one, hey, I speed run it in 5 hours and everybody else flipping out about it and continuing to feed off of that because there's no other information to talk about, right? We've played it, we've beaten it, we're embargoed. So you now have the experts, quote unquote, the informed opinions maybe is a better way, on the sidelines, unable to engage in what's happening here. So all you have is these people feeding on it. And then Dana having to come out and be like, hey, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to make something here.
Part of me feels bad for them in the sense that, like, it was just, they've been victimized by their own hype, obviously. It's not really their responsibility. The thing we were talking about when I first saw it with the order behind closed doors, running, and people did jump down my throat when I was like, this game's in bad shape.
Yeah.
It was in bad shape. And it wasn't, and what's interesting about it is that it wasn't until people saw the footage that I saw that I think it leaked in its entirety that everyone, months later, it was like, you're right. And I'm like, I know. Like, I'm not trying to lie to you about it. But what's so interesting to me is that the order actually has gotten better and better as the previews had continued to the point where we played the airship level at PSX for 40 minutes, and we actually quite enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
But they've been victimized again by like this long development cycle and the hype because PlayStation 4 has no real exclusives right now. So it's people want this game to be good and they want it to be meaningful. But it brings us back to the story about what does value mean.
Yeah.
I brought up the story of Journey. Journey. 90 minutes, 90 of the most powerful and important minutes I've ever spent with one game, for $19.99. That I would, to replicate that, would pay hundreds of dollars.
Sure.
To have an experience like that again, if someone came to me and was like, you like Journey? And Journey's not one of my favorite games, but it was the most emotionally resonant experiences I've ever had with a game. And if someone was like, you can have that again, and so with a different game, it'll cost you $100.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fine.
Sure.
Fine. Like, I'll give you $100 for 90 minutes like that.
That's a proven experience.
Right.
That's the thing. And this is where we get to movies versus this, right? Like, if there's a movie and it's getting bad reviews, people still go see it because whatever, it's $10, $11, depending on where you live. I know in the middle of the country, it's way less. And it's 2 hours and you're done, right? Whereas with video games, it's $60, and that means that's a big purchase. That's a big purchase. It's a lot of money. You know what I mean? You're close to $100. And so you have this giant weight on your shoulders already of like, all right, how long is it going to last me? What am I going to get out of it? What, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different questions to it that start to float around and start to make it a different scenario than everything else. And so, don't get me wrong, like, if somebody said tomorrow, like, here's Gone Home 2, or a game that's going to hit you as hard as Gone Home did, and it's $100, I'd be like, yeah, take my money. And, like, Steve Gaynor in Fulbright, right? Anything they fucking do from here on out, just take my money. You're no questions asked, you know what I mean? And for me, this is where it's hard to separate. If I wasn't Greg Miller in this world, if I was Greg Miller, accountant out on the side, and I loved Ready at Dawn's work on all the God of Wars, because those were my favorite God of Wars.
Right.
The PSP ones. Yeah, the PSP ones were great, and they hit, and I loved the way they felt and did. So for me, knowing that, I put Ready at Dawn on that list of people who are like, yeah, I'm going to throw money at you. I want to see what you can do. You know what I mean? But then there's this thing of like, well, it didn't run well when you first saw it. It's come around now. You and I played at the PlayStation Experience and have been very vocal since then of being very excited for it, and it looks beautiful and all these different things. But it would be it would be in the back of my head if I'm gonna click that pre-order button on Amazon or whatever. Of like, is it just a day? There were somebody in the comments. I'm sorry, they were moving fast. I know we've been jumping around, saying that he's trying to get out of standing up to a wedding to stay home and play the order, and it's like, if I was in that situation and it's 5 hours or it's 6 or it's 10, it's like, that seems like I could do Sunday. I could use Sunday for that. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much floating around of like, do I really want to spend $60 on an experience that's going to last me one day?
Yeah, I think that, it's an open-ended question because there are games that I wanted to be longer, and I would readily admit that in my younger years, because we have an audience that spans many ages.
Oh yeah.
And I think in my younger years, especially as a JRPG player in the SNES and PlayStation 1 eras as a teenager, those games meant something to me because I was spending $50 on a game like Tales of Destiny or Wild Arms that would take me 60 hours, and so I felt like I was getting value.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that doesn't necessarily, the one doesn't equate to the other. We talk about Parappa the Rapper a lot, which can be beaten in like a half an hour, but it is an awesome game with replay value and stuff like that. So I think it's a very subjective kind of thing, but I don't want people to necessarily peg the game's length on value because I would rather us talk about how is it respecting your time. You know what I mean? A lot of JRPGs, time is extended because of grinding, especially in classics like Dragon Quest.
You don't want to do that you hate, that you're like, oh, I can't believe this is still going on.
So I don't know, to me, it's just an interesting argument, but nonetheless, the order has been hyped pre-release pretty significantly, and to me, it seems like it's victimizing the game, but it still seems like lots of people are really interested in it. We'll be able to talk about it more openly with you tomorrow.
Well, we'll be able to. I forgot to update the stream thing. I actually just forgot about the stream. Remember, we're streaming the order tomorrow, 5 a.m. You get to come watch. We'll get to tell you everything we have to say about it. You'll get to have fun. We won't have to pull punches on what we're trying to say. Colin can explain to me if I am screwed on the trophies. I can explain to him why I don't think I am and why I think it's going to be pretty easy to pick it up. But
it won't be, but okay. But okay.
I don't think we'll talk about this. Okay. I won't. It'll be interesting. We can back to this. Yeah, of just like, yeah, hype is a hard thing. Being an adult, you know what I mean. Like I think about this in college and compare our lives now to when we were in college. When we first even moved here and we're working at IGN, and we're making nothing in terms of money, right? Like now it's like, let's go to Hard Water. Awesome. We're going to go to Hard Water and spend $100 each probably on old fashions and awesome food and great things and this awesome experience, right? That only lasts an hour and a half and it's great. But when I first moved here, I remember having the Excel spreadsheet of like where every dollar was going and walking to work and being like, I can't buy a cup of coffee today. I can't afford to go to Ironside and buy a cup of coffee today.
We've all been there.
And so that's what it comes to now. For me personally, Greg Miller, 31 years old, successful YouTube empire with Twitch arms. And when it was like, oh, maybe it's only 5 hours long, for me, my first reaction was like, oh, cool. I can actually beat that and not have it hanging over my head and doing this and doing that. But to dial it back, like, yeah, to be like, if I was when I first got here or when I was in college and had no money, that would be like, shit, maybe I gamefly that one, maybe I borrow it, maybe I wait till it's on sale, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand the argument. I understand it. Like you said, I think we agree on this point that we understand the argument, but...
Totally, yeah, we get both sides. Open-ended questions, like you said.
But yeah, I mean, you know, $60 is a significant investment. A $60 retail games at $60 are cheaper than they've ever been, of course, and we talked about that many times when taking into account inflation. Much cheaper than the games we used to buy as a kid.
Yeah.
That were shorter. But it didn't have replay value necessarily. Didn't have obviously the graphical fidelity and all those kinds of things. Nonetheless. I encounter a game like Fallout 3, and I'm like, I wish this game would never end. So it's a similar kind of thing, and then you get your DLC.
And that's the thing too of like talking about getting like, God fucking damn it! I hope this E3 conference is Fallout 4. I can't wait for Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is gonna get here, and we're gonna play it like crazy. But it's also gonna be so fucking intimidating. Of like, when will I have enough time to play all of Fallout 4 and beat Fallout 4, and you know what I mean? Do these different things like that.
All right, let's move on. It's already 11:45, so we should keep
conversational show.
We should keep cruising here.
Cruising.
Major Nelson over at Xbox, longtime Xbox employee, the voice guy of Xbox. He posted something about PAX East, and so we're going to be at PAX East.
We are going to PAX East,
which is in Boston. And from March 6th to March 8th, I think on March 8th, a Sunday in the afternoon, is our panel.
Yeah, 1 p.m.
Gamescast. Are we doing Gamescast or Game Over Greggy Show?
It's a Game Over Greggy Show, but I'm sure we'll talk about video games.
Okay. Instakiller92 says, "Shut up, Colin, with your corporate shit. $60 is a lot of money." Yeah, $60 is a lot of money.
Did we ever say it wasn't? No,
math is math. Inflation is inflation. We paid $70 and $80 in 1995 money. Day. No, I'm sorry. I'm so sick of this argument. When we were kids, NES games and SNES games and Genesis games cost $40, $50, $60, $70, $80 in money in that day, which is sometimes well over $100 today in money. So yes, $60 games today are expensive, and we can talk about that. But they are cheaper in real money than they've ever been. Period.
Sure.
You know, it's not even up for debate.
I hear you, bro.
Major Nelson posted a thing about the PAX East scheduling specifically for Xbox gamers, which I thought was pretty interesting, because there's going to be a lot of hands-on time you're going to be able to get with Xbox games at PAX East.
Kids.
So Xbox booth 5044, it's going to be a huge booth. They're open obviously 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on all 3 days, and they're going to have they're going to be showing a bunch of games. Whether or not these are going to be playable, let's see. It says. Pre-gaming show. Now a huge presence of the show, including another opportunity to play Halo 5 Guardians Arena multiplayer, etc. So, Halo 5 Guardians will be there. Fable Legends, State of Decay, Scream Ride, Evolve, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Battlefield Hardline. Obviously, Evolve and Battlefield are not exclusive. State of Decay is on PC. The others are pretty much Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Or it'll be on PC too, I think. Nonetheless, I wanted to bring that up so that people know that Xbox is going to have a pretty big footprint at this show.
Go play Ori and play State of Decay. I mean, you've already kind of played State of Decay, I imagine, at this point. If you haven't, then just get ready for an Xbox One, because State of Decay we love. We love those guys in Undead Labs.
So just wanted to bring that up.
Good
for our
job.
people out there.
Pound it out. That's going to be my new thing.
We'll pound it out.
Yeah, we will.
Let's go over to PlayStation. The PlayStation
Okay.
blog. I sent you this as a supplemental
This
thing.
one here?
Yeah, that's the one. I just wanted to bring this up. There's a significant sale going on. I'm not sure if this carries over to Europe. I know we have a significant European viewership for this particular show because of when it airs, and it airs in the evening in Europe. So a lot of people are able to come home from work and whatnot. And watch the show. Nonetheless, if you scroll down, you'll see that a bunch of games are on sale, whether or not you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Really good games too, and these are basically the Critics' Choice Award ones. So these are good games. So Arkham City is on there, Child of Light, both Danganronpas, Dark Souls 2, Destiny, Diablo 3, etc. and so on. You keep growing. South Park is out there, Tales of Exilia, Telltale Games, Wolfenstein. So a lot of games to be had. So keep an eye out for that. This particular sale lasts, I think. Let's see here. Where is it? Through Monday, February 23rd.
Cool.
So you have a little bit of time. So kind of take a look at the list if you have some money burning a hole in your pocket on your PSN wallet, looking for some good deals. May I heartily recommend for our Vita owners the Danganronpa games, which can be had for a little under $50 for both of them, which is a great deal. And if we're talking about game length, you're going to be spending about 40 hours with those two games.
So just start with, should they just, I see what you're saying.
Trigger Happy Havoc is the first one, and obviously Danganronpa 2 is the second one.
Okay.
So yeah, some good sales there.
Yeah, why not? Do it. Live your life.
For our people.
Whoa, and don't go chasing
Where'd
the
I go
papers
from
and
here,
live your
Greg? Where'd I
life.
go from here?
Whoa. You ever dance like that? Do this.
Sometimes I've been known to do that particular jitterbug.
You put the boom boom into my heart.
By the way, Doppelganger says PlayStation 1 games were $40 new and wages are not keeping up with inflation. Wages are not keeping up with inflation. PlayStation 1 games were in no way, shape, or form $40. They were more expensive than that. And depending a lot on the disc also that you were buying.
If you get the double discs and all the big stuff.
Every PlayStation 1 game I bought new was $50. Yeah, but I think the ones with more discs, like if you bought, I don't know, like Final Fantasy 7 or Metal Gear, maybe a little more expensive. But that was the beauty in that particular generation of the flattening of game costs because we got rid of cartridges, which is why it was so weird.
So expensive.
Yeah, people don't understand how expensive it was to produce that chip, particularly that would go into the cartridges, and how that really made games cheaper for everyone. Greg.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
Dead Men Tell No Tales begins production. Just wanted to throw that out there. Some people really love this series. I've only seen the first one.
Is Johnny Depp in this one?
Presumably. Well, yeah, it says Johnny Depp returns to his iconic Academy Award nominated role of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Just stop. I'm sick. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't go watch them, so I shouldn't shit on other people's entertainment. But I don't want to. Just stop, please. Just stop. Because it ended in a weird spot too with Orlando Bloom, like having it was a horrible story. He's in love with this woman. Now he's got to go to get his dad free. Spoilers for the end of Pirates of the Caribbean that I got explained to me by somebody watching it on TV. To set his dad free from his curse of being a fucking ghost pirate or whatever the fuck he was. Then Orlando Bloom had to go out on the sail. I think he had to sail for like 9 years before he could come to shore, and then he could come to shore for 1 day. So like he left the woman he loves, goes out on the boat, and then he comes back, and then like the final thing is like him coming back to shore 9 years later. He's got a son. It's like Jesus fucking Christ! What a nightmare! What a living fucking nightmare! Let's people have some nice days. There you go.
So I just wanted to throw out there. I don't really care.
Oh, that was it? Okay.
Yeah,
okay. You just wanted to give me a little chance to rant about how much I dislike the ending of Pirates, a movie that I did not see in a franchise I'm not invested in. I just want happy fucking endings for the nice characters.
Is that all you want?
Yeah.
In any movie?
I want happy endings every day.
Okay, I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Greg, World of Tanks coming to Xbox One. This isn't a huge surprise. World of Tanks is already on PC, obviously, and Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge surprise that it's going to take to leap to Xbox One. The story on their official website says, when World of Tanks first came to Xbox 360, the concept of free-to-play gaming on a console was nearly unheard of. Not really true. But after a year of milestones, updates, community growth, and relentless armored combat, World of Tanks has blasted its way into the spotlight and the living rooms of aspiring Xbox tank commanders worldwide.
Oh.
With over 5 million downloads across nearly 150 countries, World of Tanks on Xbox 360 is a global success. Such an accomplishment would not be possible without our fantastic community of enthusiastic tankers, which is why we cannot be more excited to share an awesome announcement with you today. World of Tanks is coming to Xbox One. Big news, right? We know you were eager to take the fight to the one, so let's answer the big questions first. Yes, World of Tanks on Xbox One will support cross-platform play. Yes, your hard-earned progress comes with you to Xbox One. And yes, you can play on both systems and maintain progress on one account. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. World of Tanks is like one of those games that you, personally, I would have been like, who the fuck cares about World of Tanks? And then when it started coming to consoles and we had to start covering it or being knowledgeable about it, and they give you these stats, you're like, holy shit, a lot of people care about World of Tanks. I'm stupid. I'm glad I know now that people love World of Tanks.
Yeah, it was huge. When I went to Gamescom last time, that was the big rage there, specifically on Xbox 360. They were showing it, and it was advertisements everywhere.
Yeah.
People really enjoy that game very much.
Okay. I have a question here for you from Joe3B. I honestly hope they increase the pricing of games to $80+ so that people would actually vote with their wallets rather than giving money to half-assed finished AAA games. Thoughts?
No, it's a terrible idea. I think that
would kill the market, wouldn't it?
That would destroy. I think that would destroy the market. I think what you're going to end up seeing, games, retail games typically come out at $60, sometimes $40, but typically $60 because there can be no digital discounts because, as we've talked about before, Sony and Microsoft don't want to isolate and alienate their retail partners that are still very essential to getting the hardware specifically out there. I'm sure Sony would love nothing more than to be like, the Order 1886 is $50 on PSN and $60 at the store because obviously they have to pay the middleman and GameStop takes their cut and all that kind of stuff. So I think that once the brick and mortar stores collapse, literally and maybe figuratively as well.
No, not literally.
Maybe literally.
No, well, God.
Yeah, they'll collapse one
Can we get the managers out?
It's going to be like The Last of Us.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's out. No one dies.
Okay, thank you.
No one dies. Sure. I think that once that happens, and that's slowly happening, it's already happening on PC. Obviously, Steam's way ahead of the curve with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think game prices come down. And I think what you end up finding is that a game from a AAA studio doesn't necessarily have to cost $60. Maybe it will. But that maybe one will come out at $30 or $40, and they'll start undercutting each other. Competition is going to be good for the market. Will bring prices down for everyone. So I think it's an interesting idea what you said, but I think that will have the inverse effect of what you want it to have.
If everything can go digital, and AAA things are like, well, we're going to stay at $60 or $50 or whatever, then they're going to get fucking eaten alive.
Psycho Bullets says we need to stop pre-ordering games first. Agreed. I do not understand the pre-order market. Now, when I was a kid, or younger, even my teen years and my college years, I would pre-order games not because you didn't really get anything for pre-ordering games. That was kind of a weird thing to get things for pre-ordering games. You get that a lot now. But it was like select games you would get things for pre-order, but not everything.
Sure.
And I would pre-order games simply because I wanted to pay for them ahead of time so I didn't have to worry about it. So I was like, I have this $60 now for the game that comes out next month, or the $50. Here it is.
For me,
Give me my receipt.
This was the day, this is for us, we're old. This is before digital distribution, right? And it's really before Amazon was super reliable and could do all this stuff. So I'd pre-order at the Columbia Mall in college and then, in Stratford Square Mall in Bloomingdale, Illinois, because I wanted the thing to come. I want the game. I don't want you to sell out of the game, right? You'd go there looking for whatever, Maximo Quest for Glory, and they wouldn't have it, right? Because they sold through the 4 copies they got in their shipment.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I was guaranteed a copy of the game when it came out. And that's, to me, with the pre-orders now, and vote with your wallet and all that stuff, it makes sense. I'm not one for saying don't pre-order games. You run the risk of it. I still pre-order stuff on the belief that I want it day one and I want it delivered. I don't want to go to the mall, right? Like, if for me, I was on the outside again, Accountant Greg's out there, I'm nervous about what I'm hearing about the order, I pay attention to when I can no longer have it delivered. You know what I mean? Like, when can I cancel my pre-order on Amazon and not get charged for it? Or even think about sending it back unopened. You know what I mean? That's the bigger thing for me right now in terms of, like, I pre-order for convenience, not for, I get a new Batman skin or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I understand the want to pre-order because you're excited about games, right? You're excited about the Order 1886, you go pre-order it. That's great. And we live in a culture where you feel like you have to be part of the zeitgeist at that point. Like, when the game comes out, you need to play it.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, like, and it's almost hypocritical of me to say because we get access to games even before they come out and we get to play them. And so we don't have to, very candidly, we don't have to deal with the cycle of, like, waiting or going to the...
Keep talking.
That's my mic. Fucked up.
It rolled over on you.
Where we don't have to necessarily wait for the consumer cycle of is the game good and go out and buy the game and all those kinds of things. We are very much in an ivory tower in that sense, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
We're very blessed and lucky.
We totally know that.
But I wonder if the solution is really more simple, which is if people just stopped buying games when they came out. And this was and waited to see if they were good, but find the people you trust. I'm not saying yes, I have to read every review or Metacritic. Find the people you trust.
Yeah.
Whether maybe you trust us, maybe you don't, maybe you trust someone else at another site, another YouTube channel, whatever.
Jim fucking Sterling's son.
Yeah, Jim fucking Sterling's son, good guy to trust. And then you see and you wait and then you buy the game.
Sure.
And some people wait, and I don't really blame them. Some people wait and say, like, this game... I saw it on a NeoGaf thread about the Order 1886 where they're like, I'm not buying the Order 1886. Like, I'll wait until it's inevitably $30 and then I'll buy it or whatever. And that's another option, but it's hard to not be part of the conversation.
Right. I mean, because again, this goes back to what I was talking about with this hype machine, how it's built, right? It's built that when you see that first trailer, you talk about how much you want this game for 6 months, not having seen any gameplay or knowing anything really about it. So by the time it's finally here, it's finally fucking available for you to play, you have to. You know what I mean? Not let alone the fact that you want to, let alone the fact that you listen to us, you watch the lobby, you download Beyond, you do all these different things where everyone's talking about this thing. You know, it's just like any other TV show that's sitting on your DVR, right? You know the clock is fucking ticking until someone thinks it's okay to ruin this for me. Like, you know what I mean? If you're like an invested, fucking hardcore gamer and somebody's doing that, like, it's so hard to miss that shit. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand every side of it. The excitement.
Yeah.
The day one kind of shit, paying for it ahead of time, getting maybe those perks or that DLC or that collector's edition. People are going to continue to be disappointed by many games until they start sending signals to AAA developers and publishers specifically that they expect better for their $60. We were talking about this before with the gentleman that was talking about how $60 games are expensive, and yeah, they are. Stop buying them then. You know what I mean? Like, if we really want to collapse the market to a more reasonable level, or what you might consider reasonable, then you have to speak with your wallet. You must speak with your wallet. But we can't. We can't do that because we are so excited about these games and so passionate about these games and want to play these games, and some of them are great. And they're very much worth your $60. Like, when you go and buy Uncharted 4, we're speaking way ahead of time, of course, but are you have any doubt that game's going to be worth $60?
I doubt it.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, you have to take them as they come, but the pre-order market, I think, and the pre-order kind of culture that we've cultivated, as Jim fucking Sterling's son often talks about, is it's destructive. And this is why we are in this environment that we're in. Let's move on, Greg.
All right. I'm moving on.
Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer wrote about this Kickstarter that has apparently gone bad. The Stomping Lands Dinosaur Modeler Gives Up, Moves to New Game is the title of the story. And it says, it's been a long, slow, and ugly process, but it seems certain now that the Stomping Land, the multiplayer survival game set in the land of dinosaurs that raised over $100,000 on Kickstarter, has been abandoned. After losing contact with developer Alex Jig Fundora in late 2014, modeler Vlad Konstantinov halted his work on the game in January and has now moved on to a different game altogether. Quote, I'm sad to say that I have to temporarily freeze all my work on the TSL project. More than a month has passed since the day when I received the last reply from Jig. I've sent him 5 messages and haven't gotten a single reply, end quote. This is according to Konstantinov.
Sure.
So basically, they go on to say the silence apparently did continue because earlier this month, the developers of Beast of Prey, another sandbox survival game with dinosaurs, announced that Konstantinov had signed a deal with them to provide it with new dinosaur models. Blah, blah, blah. So just another story of a Kickstarter story that has seemed to have gone south. Nonetheless, I eagerly wait for the response, the inevitable, I think, response from this Fundora person, who will talk about why the game might still be in development. Nonetheless, that story was making the rounds, and I wanted to bring that up. Over at GameSpot, Eddie writes about Minecraft creator discusses sale to Microsoft sellout criticism. Marcus Notch Person says he kind of feels like a sellout, but says it was the right move to make. The story reads, Minecraft creator Marcus Notch Person has spoken out regarding last year's unexpected blockbuster deal that saw Person sell developer Mojang to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. Hypothetically asked by a fan if he thought he was a sellout for agreeing to the deal, Person replied, quote, I kind of feel like I am, but I still feel like I made the right choice. I guess some things always come at a cost, end quote. Mm-hmm. The fan who asked the question said he didn't really see it that way. Person was in a way stuck between a rock and a hard place, he suggested. If he sold Minecraft, critics would say he was a sellout. If he didn't, some might see him as a one-trick pony. Person said, quote, the only one-trick pony thing was hard to deal with. Matching the insane success of Minecraft would be impossible. I'm okay with it now, end quote. So good for him. It says he's spending some of his time prototyping new games that he doesn't intend to ever show or release publicly. Quote, the fun is back. Programming is annoying and frustrating, but so much fun, he said. And it says Person was believed to have a 70% stake in Mojang, meaning he made somewhere in the area of $1.75 billion for his sale to Microsoft. He has since left Mojang and purchased a $70 billion mega mansion in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Portillo!
So I don't know. I don't think that he's a sellout. He did what I think was most logical for anyone with that kind of property.
Yeah.
He understood and acknowledged that he can't possibly.
Portillo, come here, you asshole. What is your fucking problem? The mailman comes every day now. You're a sellout, Portillo. You're a sellout. Get up here, you jerk.
And other people, Nick PRS7 and Rich Hertz says, I'd be a sellout for $2.5 billion. I think pretty much anyone would. It's easy to throw stones at someone like that from afar and say, like, you're a sellout, blah. But it's like, what do you want him to do? He created this company, and then he created this game that he cannot possibly ever match.
Yeah.
So just get out. It's cool that he's still selling games or making games or prototyping them.
Yeah.
Because if I was someone, I'd be like, see ya. You know, like,
well, I mean,
like $2.5 billion, you don't need to do a goddamn thing ever again.
Here's the thing about him being a sellout. He isn't a sellout. Did he? I mean, he literally sold out. And I don't mean it like sellout, like when Rock would come out and we're like, chant, you're a sellout. You know what I mean? The Rock went to the corporate. Remember this? When Rock went from being the people's champ to the corporate champion. Anyways, he got out, but he did it in a good way. He gave it to Microsoft to throw as many stones as you want at Xbox. I think understand what they're doing with Minecraft in terms of what Minecraft is and not to fuck this up. And the first step, of course, was still letting it come to Vita, still updating it on Vita and PlayStation and letting it, you know what I mean? Letting it be this giant fucking thing, right? That's awesome. Good job there. The second thing, though, is if somebody came to, like, we've talked about this before, right? When we're enjoying our bourbons and hanging out. If somebody came to us and was like, hey, we want to buy Kinda Funny, we'll give you $4 million. Each one of you walk away a millionaire, right? And they're not scumbags. They're people, or they're not bad guys. Scumbags can be used as a term of endearment, of course.
This is where you paint yourself into a corner.
They're not bad guys. They're over there. They're good people. They want to do it. They want to bring it into a brand that makes sense or whatever. We would think about it, right? And maybe we do it, and maybe we come with them and do the shows for a while, but we'd break away, and then when it's like, what do you want to do? Do we want to make more content? We could just make another channel. We could just make another thing where we do another talk show and do these different things. Like, he gave it up because, first off, he understood how incredible he had. Like, when he left Minecraft, he talked about the fact of, this is huge, and it's gotten way bigger than I'm able to handle. You know what I mean? This is not what we thought we were doing, and now it's this giant thing, and it's consuming every portion of my life, every facet of my life. So he gives it up to a company who can go and run with it and keep making it, knock on wood, and not screw it up. And then he gets to sit there and buy an amazing house with a candy room and sit there in his room and program and do the things he loves doing and not have that pressure on him anymore of like think about the pressure we are under right now to benefit everybody who watches this show, the YouTube audience, the podcast audience, then everyone who subscribes to us on 2 Patreons, right? It's enormous pressure. In grand total, it's a few 100,000 people, right? And that we're trying to do like Minecraft, to have Minecraft, and like you are the Minecraft guy, and everybody who has any complaint about Minecraft comes to you, I'd fucking die. You know what I mean? Like, this is the easiest way for him to get out, maintain sanity, let the project continue to grow under the guidance of somebody else. I don't think he sold that. I think he did the right thing for him and for his product.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. 100%. Well said. Nintendo news, also from Eddie at GameSpot.
Now here are some fucking sellouts.
Leaked gold Mario amiibo appears to be Walmart exclusive.
Oh.
Nintendo will release a gold Mario amiibo, according to Eddie's story, later this year alongside, Wii U party game Mario Party 10.
Mario.
According to a leaked poster from retailer Walmart that appeared on Reddit. I don't know why I'm so gassy. Quote, make this Easter golden, end quote, reads a line from the poster, which specifically mentions that only the gold Mario amiibo will be sold only at Walmart. Mario 10 launches March 20th, while Easter this year is April 5th. So if you're looking for that gold amiibo, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Now you know more about it.
I'm looking for your Mega Man amiibo I pre-ordered months ago for Christmas. They still delayed games. Stop.
I appreciate the sentiment.
I know, but I want to get you this Mega Man. Mega Man.
Let's cruise, Greg, because it's after 12.
Okay.
Digital Spy wrote a story. Reason for no Resident Evil Revelations 2 on 3DS is partly technical. The story is by Matthew Reynolds and Joe Anderton at Digital Spy. I've never seen the last name Joe Anderton.
Anderton?
Yeah, it's a good one. So this like Anderson.
Mr. Anderton.
Capcom has explained why episodic sequel Resident Evil Revelations 2 won't see a release on Nintendo 3DS, according to the Digital Spy story. Though the original game debuted on the handheld before coming to consoles, it was the latter systems that were the starting point for a sequel, according to producer Michiteru Okabe. Mm-hmm. Quote, the original game was released on home consoles a little after the 3DS. It was called the Unveiled Edition in Japan, but just Resident Evil Revelations for consoles in the West. That's where our starting point for the sequel is in a sense, the versions that were already on home platforms. It's partly for a technical reason. We have our own custom engine called the NT Framework, and as a mobile and home console versions are quite different technically, given that we were taking the home console version as a starting point, it just led somewhat naturally. We tried to release it on as many platforms as we could, and that later became a selection of current and next-gen Xbox and PlayStation platforms as well as PC, so that's how we ended up with that, end quote. Okabe added that there are no plans for a Wii U version, and couldn't comment on the recently announced Vita edition since it's being handled by Sony. So Resident Evil Revelations comes out next week, first episode. PS3, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360,
Are you excited?
and PC. Not really.
Okay.
I'll wait for the Vita version, I think.
Okay.
Which Sony, I think, third-party publishing is doing themselves.
Hashtag building the list.
Greg, I was excited about this news. It's not gaming news, but it is television news or programming news, I guess. On The Verge, they announced, A.D. Robinson announced Amazon greenlights The Man in the High Castle TV series.
Ah, the one pilot you heard nonstop about.
Yep. The Man in the High Castle, a Ridley Scott-produced adaptation of Philip K. Dick's alternate history novel, is now officially part of Amazon's video roster. The company announced today that Man in the High Castle and 4 other titles have made the jump from TV test pilots to full series. This includes the dark comedy Mad Dogs, an adaptation of a UK series about a group of underachieving 40-somethings who reunion, quote, becomes a labyrinthine nightmare of lies, deception, and murder, end quote. And combination fiction documentary general culture series The New Yorker Presents, as well as 2 children's shows, young adult book adaptation Just Add Magic, and preschool level series The Stinky and Dirty Show.
The Stinky and Dirty Show.
Amazon released a total of 13 pilots last month with full series approval contingent on user response. What didn't make the cut? Among other things, the comedies Cocked, Down Dog, and Salem Rogers, as well as Point of Honor, a Civil War drama whose pilot was written by lost showrunner Carlton Cuse. The Man in the High Castle and other successful shows would join existing Amazon series like Alpha House and Transparent, both of which are coming back for new seasons. Amazon also announced last month that it will be producing a TV show written and directed entirely by Woody Allen, which will air in 2016.
Nice.
In case people don't know, it says we watched The Man in the High Castle, and we have, I think, different opinions
Separately.
on it. The Man in the High Castle's pilot was deeply flawed, which I agree with, but it's a decently looking and moderately faithful adaptation of Philip K. Dick's 1962 novel, set in America that's been colonized by Japan and Germany after Axis powers won World War II. According to Amazon, it became the most watched pilot ever. Given that Amazon's pilots have been fairly hit or miss, few have had the name recognition of Man in the High Castle. This is fairly plausible. On the more hyperbolic side, Amazon also printed a customer review whose author claims the pilot, quote, may very well be the single best thing I've ever seen or heard, end quote. Which is maybe a little depressing.
A little hyperbole in there?
So I think I like the show. I'm not quite sure where it's going. I did not read the book.
Yeah.
I think I want to read the book.
So what's the differing opinion? I didn't hate it. I just didn't think it was great.
I thought it was interesting. I liked it less the more it went on, I think.
Yeah, it's got a great idea.
I like the intro with the map and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then once I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's something that happens with one of the female characters in her apartment, and I'm like,
it's like, what's happening here? Yeah.
I don't know if I wanted to go down that road, but maybe I don't know like what happens. I have my theory.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know though.
Does it involve Portillo?
No. Quick story from Matthew Cato at Game Informer: Project Cars delayed again. Oh. Slightly Mad Studios' ambitious sim-based racer Project Cars has been delayed from its March 17th release date on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. The game will now come out first on PC Steam on April 2nd, and the PS4 and Xbox One versions will follow on April 7th. Quote, we know that these extra days will allow us to provide the best game experience that our fans deserve. We assure you that the wait will be worth it when the game does arrive in early April. This is according to Ian Bell, the head of Slightly Mad Studios. Don't care about this game. Know a lot of people that do care about it, though.
Yeah.
Seems very promising.
Never really care about racers.
No, Bandai Namco is publishing
Mario
it.
Car.
We wish the very best for that to that particular game.
Sure.
2 more things, Greg. 2 different stories that kind of talk about the same thing. Variety's Mark Schilling wrote about how music and movies favored a new Sony strategy.
Oh, that's great. That always works well for them.
But there's more to this. So let's read this story real quick. Sony Corp CEO Kaz Hirai today unveiled the company's midterm corporate strategy for the 3 years starting in fiscal year 2015. 3 focuses for the company, whose share prices have soared 80% in the last year under the direction of Hirai and his chief strategy officer Kenichiro Yoshida, will be devices, games, and network services, and entertainment, particularly movies and music. The principal yardstick of success will be return on invested capital.
Sure.
The company plans to turn its troubled television and smartphone businesses into steady revenue earners. It will continue a restructuring drive that has sharply reduced headcount and lessen the drag from PCs and other struggling product lines. Specifically, Sony is aiming for a 10% return on equity, as well as a consolidated operating profit of $4.19 billion by fiscal year 2017.
Okay.
The third and last year of its plan. Hirai told reporters in Tokyo that Sony will, quote, stress profitability, not uniform growth in scale, end quote. Sony intends to grow its device segment, particularly its profitable image sensors, by expanding their applications in everything from smartphones to medical treatment. It also intends to further boost sales of its PlayStation 4 console, as well as related internet-based services. Now, if we go to the Polygon story by Emily Guerra, it says Sony's new 3-year plan places its bets on PlayStation. And her story from the same source says Sony has announced its new 3-year return of profitability. And it says Sony Game and Network Services business, which features PlayStation, will be categorized as a growth driver, in quotes. Sony now intends to expand its user base of its console platform and PlayStation Network as part of this plan. So it seems like they're doubling down on PS4 as well as some of the other things that work out. And as the end of her story on Polygon notes, Sony has sold more than 18.5 million PlayStation 4 consoles worldwide. Probably closer to 20 million at this point.
Dang, son.
The 20 million is my introduction, not in the story. They just haven't announced the numbers in a while. Greg, a final piece of news.
Final piece of news before we jump into the comments.
And this is for you specifically.
Me?
Because you're from Chicago.
I am. Oh, God. Is Chicago okay?
Chicago weather, sub-zero wind chills, record-breaking cold expected.
Yeesh, that's why I don't go back to Chicago.
The brutal cold is back, according to the story on abc7chicago.com. An Arctic front brings high temperatures into single digits and wind chills below zero to the Chicago area on Wednesday. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
The average high for February 18 is 36 degrees. Now, I saw this and I was looking at maps where it's supposed to be absolutely brutal there. But then, I went to school in Boston, and shit's hitting the fan there too as well.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a story from USA Today, and it says, Boston mayor to snow daredevils, chill out.
Ah, chill out.
Think before you jump, or don't jump at all. That's the message from Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, told snowbound Bostonians at a press conference Tuesday. Apparently, some of the city's stir-crazy, thrill-seeking residents are taking to social media with videos of them jumping out of windows in the massive snowdrifts. I lived in Boston for a long time. A lot of college kids there. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
There's a video. I don't know if we're going to have to add buffering.
Of course it is.
The mayor says, you can skip it in a few seconds here.
I'm muting it. Hold on. Yeah. There we go. USA Today. Breaking news of people jumping in. Just stealing their Instagram. Bro got. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. That one's more reasonable, at least. Oh, why? You're not even naked.
What?
Swanton bomb there from that guy.
Damn, dude, you have some balls.
Yeah. Here he is saying chill out.
Yeah, so he says, I'm asking people to stop this nonsense right now. These are adults jumping out of windows. It's a foolish thing to do and you could kill yourself. And then it says, this is the best quote, this isn't Loon Mountain, this is the city of Boston.
Loon Mountain.
Where we're trying to remove snow off the streets and it becomes very dangerous.
It is, from Loon Mountain on YouTube.
And the last thing we want to do is respond to an emergency call where somebody jumped out of a window because they thought it was a funny thing to do.
And they hit a fucking fire hydrant.
So I thought you guys would find that funny out there on the Kind of Funny Game
crazy. Yeah. No. Thank you on that one. I'm glad you brought that one too.
Oh, man. It's so...
No, I'm good.
It's so good. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that story.
That's a great story. I like
it's so weird, too, that Tom Menino was the mayor for years in Boston.
And he encouraged people to jump outside.
And he absolutely was... No, it's so weird to reading... I don't even know who the hell Marty Walsh is. I'm just used to... Okay. I was reading a Boston mayor and I was about to say, like...
His name.
Yeah, and I was like, someone
Now,
else?
Here's the thing you brought up earlier. You kind of glossed over it, though. There's a connection here. Boston is in the middle of this fucking terrible snowstorm. Everything's horrible.
It's always in the middle of a terrible snowstorm.
We're going there, Colin.
We're
going there for PAX East. Are we going to get snowed in? Are we going to get snowed out? Is PAX East going to happen? Are we going to die? What's going to happen?
I'm sure it's going to happen, but
Are you and I going to jump off Loon Mountain when we go there?
Maybe, but I mean, it's early March. Anything's possible. As I always say, I lived in Boston when it snowed in May, so it's not like... it starts snowing in October and will end maybe in April-ish.
Yeah.
It's a bad place. And you lived in Chicago. They're very comparable.
Yeah.
In terms of cold and snow. I would say Chicago's probably even worse with the snow. But we would get fucking hammered, And so I'm seeing this kind of stuff. And what it reminded me of was we live in San Francisco where the weather never changes.
Yep.
It is 60 degrees all year. We have rainy season that lasts a little while, but that's already gone. So now, what we have now is just the way it's gonna be. Then we have an Indian summer in September and October that lasts
it's like 85 degrees and everybody's like, oh my God.
It sucks. It's terrible. It lasts a few weeks and then it's over.
Yeah.
We forget, and I often forget, I don't know if you do, that we come from places, whether it's Long Island or Chicago or lived in Boston or all these places where there is weather.
Yeah, where there's seasons.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, I went out and was running errands with Christine or whatever, and then she went to shop, and I went and got a coffee, sat outside, played some Persona. I took a photo of it, and it's this beautiful sunny day. You can see people walking by in short sleeve shirt, and people kept tweeting back at me like, it's negative 30 where I am. I'm snowed in. This is happening. I'm like, oh yeah, February doesn't look like this for other people.
NCR Ranger says Calgary has crazy weather too. Well, we know that. We're not even talking about Canada.
Yeah. Your moose jaws.
Go to Yellowknife and tell me about the goddamn snow over in Yellowknife or Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, Medicine
Canada
Hat.
references. We like making Canada references.
Edmonton. That's my favorite thing about Edmonton is that BioWare's there.
Yeah.
Or BioWare, the Mass Effect studio is there. And no wonder their games are so good. They can't do anything else.
Yeah, they can only focus. Casey Hudson can only do that. Well, before he quit. Now I can only play video games. Probably rock out on guitar.
All right, Greg.
Yep.
We're running late, so I want to take 3 questions from the audience.
It's our show. We can do it
and then I'm feeling a little hungry.
I'm feeling it.
And
don't forget that today's a jam-packed day of content creation too.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We have things to do.
Okay.
So I want to take 3 questions from the audience.
Yep.
I want to take 3 questions from the audience, and then 3 questions from our subscribers, and then we have to go. Usually we're not that quick.
No,
we do have many things to do. We have an important meeting at 4, and we have to record 2, I think, different things.
Right, after this, we're going to record the Order 1886 review discussion that'll go live tomorrow at 5 a.m., and then we have to record the Games Cast that goes live for Patreon backers tomorrow. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We hope you understand. We've given you quite the show, though. This has been a good one. This has been one of my favorites. I'm feeling it. We got to give away prizes, too, while you look for questions. Remember, each and every day on Colin and Greg Live, we add a prize to the prize pack. Friday, we give it away. If you're a subscriber, you're automatically entered in the list. If you're not, you have to be in the chat. Then you get automatically entered. Then I pick a winner at random. We already added the View XL. You put your phone in here. You get magnifying glasses. It's a home theater experience on your face. Ugh. Come on, Porty, help me. Ugh. Then we added the little cart here. The little cart man that stands up. It's from Loot Crate. It's the SO analog, I guess, right? Squid Kids Inc. for Geeks by Geeks. Is a little guy. He looks like an NES cartridge. He stands up. He does stuff. Then yesterday, Colin, we got a package. We got a package from your boy, Paul. Paul said, "Hey guys, thought one of the best friends might appreciate these more than I do. Feel free to enjoy them. Give them away on Colin and Greg Live. Set them on fire, whatever you want." So Paul sent in multiple comics from Marvel. We're gonna give away two essential collections: Thor and Iron Man. Thor, Iron Man.
Captain America.
Damn it, why are they all Iron Man team-ups on the back then? That was very confusing. But see, that's weird. Or maybe they're all Iron Man team-ups.
I like...
Yeah, they're Thor and Iron Man team-ups. That's really weird. But
like,
why is only Captain America?
Thor and Iron Man. Iron Man.
Something Colin would do. There's an Iron Man collection in there, but look at the back. They're all Iron Man team-ups. That's weird. Civil War. Marvel Masterwork. Why are they all Iron Man? Man, Captain America, what a goon this guy was. Look at this was his outfit. Look at the boots, the bell-bottom boots. Knock it off, Captain America. Anyways, so now you got the stand-up NES thing, the View XL, and then 2 things here. Thor and Iron Man. Thor and Iron Man. I appreciate DC Comics quite a bit.
Greg, I sent you a last-minute link that I forgot to talk to you about.
Okay.
That I thought was funny. A weird connection. No, it'll be back in your inbox. A weird connection of worlds.
Oh shit! I heard about this. Yeah. Yeah, somebody said this was designed just for us.
Yeah.
It's already in, whatever. It's them jumping around the dance game. But yeah, Taylor Swift dressed as an Islanders fan.
Yeah.
With Jimmy, I like to think that Mike Drucker pitched this to Jimmy Fallon just so we could have this moment. I mean, you hate the Rangers.
Yeah.
You love the Islanders, and then there's Taylor Swift, my girl.
But then they do a Rangers one later.
Yeah.
And so they show like real fans. Jimmy Fallon's funny as hell, man.
Jimmy Fallon's awesome.
But then they show, and someone pointed out that the woman next to Jimmy Fallon, when they're dressed as Ranger fans, something happens, and she like looks so mad. Like,
to back it up?
Yeah. Like no, keep going.
Okay,
I think it's after this. Yeah, all right. So watch this woman. So now they're dressed in their Ranger blues. Unfortunately, they should burn that shit.
I don't understand. Why are they?
So watch, but what?
Because that's their audience. That's their audience, right? Like, they're in the studio audience, it looks like.
Presumably, yeah.
This looks like their audience, yeah. She's so upset. That's awesome.
Anyway, I thought that was funny. Now, Jimmy Fallon, take that shitty Rangers jersey and go throw it in the garbage can where it belongs.
Damn. That's awesome.
All right. Okay. Greg, 3 questions from the audience.
3 questions from the audience.
Well, this won't count. Reese Red says, Cap is the best, Greg. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yo, fuck you. Read a real comic from DC Comics.
All right, I gotta wait because we've been talking.
We've been talking too much about the Rangers and everything else. So until
Princey
now,
P says, "Let's go Rangers." How'd you like that game a few days ago, Colin? It was one game. You guys had to win one of them.
here's one of your questions.
Let's see where's
the Ben Como.
The Ben Como. Okay, so he says, "What do you think about the embargo concept? Which publishers use it, and how why is it good or bad?" Every publisher uses embargoes. And it's a way to give you early access to a game under the moniker that you will not necessarily say anything good or bad. That's not what it has to do with it all. It just says that everyone goes at the same time.
It gives people a chance without playing favorites.
Exactly. And so I think embargoes are necessary. They're essential, actually. And they're not exclusive to games. They're in movies, they're in TV shows, they're in politics, they're in everything. There's embargoes with everything. It's basically a way to respect a specific time that the publisher wants everything to go out, so everything goes out at the same time.
Yeah, it's
so like we got the Order 1886 last week, but we cannot talk about it until tomorrow. It doesn't affect what we're going to say.
Yeah.
We're just respecting the fact that we got the game early, and that is kind of the exchange.
Exactly. So we get the chance to talk about it when everybody's allowed to talk about it. I think review embargoes are fine. We have obviously I've linked in the comments here. I'm showing right now the conversation with Colin about video game review embargoes. Go check it out. Obviously, the talk is are they okay? Sometimes people try to do that thing where the embargoes after the game's released. You're like, no, that's not how this works.
Doc91 says, will tomorrow's order stream be spoiler free? Absolutely not. So if you want to see,
I mean, we're playing the game from the get, so no. And we can play for several hours. Is as ambiguous as Sony left that.
Yeah, so don't count on that.
And we're gonna talk about it. I mean, like the review video we're putting up on YouTube.com/kindoffunny tomorrow, or Kind of Funny Games. The review discussion about the order will be concise. What do we think of this? What do we think of that? Blah blah blah. Done. And then the stream will be similar to that, but expanded out into a million different directions.
Final question comes from
the chat.
Summer Hayes. Says, what are your thoughts on Kingdom Hearts series? I don't care about it. I don't know if you do or not. They're very well made games.
Marty loves them.
Games. And Tim likes them too.
Tim loves them too.
But those aren't games for us. I don't really even understand the lore of the characters exactly. It's just not for me.
I'm engaging subscriber mode. If you're not a subscriber, it doesn't matter. You can keep watching. It just means that you can't chat now. If you are a subscriber, this is part of your personal time with us to ask us questions. Of course, you can get the emoticons as well, the little thing next to your name, all sorts of different stuff like that. Super Boogs 06 says, suggestions on DC storyline to read, Greg. Kingdom Come, Last Sun, the Superman run, not Red Sun, but Red Sun's good too if you want to read that. And then all Scott Snyder's Batman stuff from New 52 is really good.
Bogner PRS says, if we arrived on a meteor, how was the meteor first formed? What about whatever formed that? Where was it formed? This is, of course, a reference to the Colonism that I invented at the beginning of the show.
I like that.
Where if we're going to give creationism the same room as evolution in the classroom, then Colonism is also going to get it, which is also just another made-up thing. And from that, the meteor falls on Earth. I haven't really thought about the rest of it, but it's because it's just a theory that's out there. It's going to get the same placement in science class as everything else.
Did Portillo come from the meteor too?
Presumably. I haven't gotten that far. All I know is that it's going to be in the curriculum.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
Okay.
Colonism.
Porty, you're going to be famous.
Little Jerry Seinfeld says, Colin, will you ever do a marathon stream like Greg just did? Yes. The stream I'll be doing next is Mega Man 1 through 6 and 9 and 10. We promised that to our Patreon subscribers, and we're going to do that. I might do that as soon as next week. It's not going to take nearly as long as Greg's did, so I think that it will take me, that's 8 games, 6 or 7 hours maybe. So so we'll do it quick right after Colin and Greg. Maybe next week. We'll talk about it after this and figure it out.
Okay. Also remember, if you're a Patreon subscriber on for $15 or more on Kind of Funny or Kind of Funny Games, go check the creations wall I posted today. Links and info about the Q&A we'll be doing, the live Q&A that you're promised for the month.
X-Pacer X says, Greg, I want you to know your stream came suspiciously right before the Telltale Collection sale. I bought it because of your stream.
Interesting. That's totally you hopefully understand what we've been doing here is always in front of you. We got the video we did right about alternate history, sponsored by PlayStation. When we give the shout-outs in the air, This was not at all planned. In fact, I wouldn't have done it Monday if I knew it was a holiday.
Fraser44 says, regarding digital game pricing, in addition to brick and mortar collapsing, don't you think there are internet issues that need to be fixed first as well? I feel like the majority of the population have internet that can't really handle downloading a 50+ gigabyte game. Absolutely. There's an infrastructure issue in this country in particular. And in other places around the world, we have unlimited internet in terms of bandwidth, but not in terms of speed. Some people do pay for their bandwidth, which is unfortunate, and they're going to be really screwed in that situation. Yeah. Yes, there are infrastructure problems that must come first, but you have to start somewhere.
Yep.
Let's do 2 more, Greg.
Okay.
Lord Raziel77 says, why is there no 7 and 8 in the list of Mega Man? 7 is a game I really have no love for. It's just, I feel like it's the weird bastard child of the classic series. 8 is on PS1, and as far as I understand, there is no way to download that game digitally, and my copy is back home, so I can't play it. Also, that game, 7 and 8 are the worst ones by like a mile.
Gotcha.
They're fine games, but...
Parky Park says, Greg, I dropped off The Walking Dead around issue 90. Where should I pick it back up? 91. Well, you're not going to understand what the hell's happening if you don't do that.
That's our last question, Greg.
Okay.
It's time to go.
We have a lot of content to make for you. Thank you very much for understanding.
Yeah, thank you for understanding. We appreciate you coming. We appreciate you being with us during the start of our unusual Colin and Greg Live today. And we hope you enjoyed it. Of course, you can find us here every weekday at 11 a.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can find us on Twitter at kindoffunnyvids. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm. There are fan-run Facebook groups, Reddit, threads, and NeoGAF topics and all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to check that stuff out, you can find me at No Taxation on Twitter. Greg at Game Over Greggy. We will be back with you tomorrow. We have to go against Skedaddle right now because we just have so much to do today.
5 a.m. we'll be back. The order stream.
Yeah, we'll be back at 5 a.m. for the order. 5 a.m. tomorrow. So in about what is that, 16 and a half hours. So we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, au revoir.
No.
What?
You have to retire them. We have to pull...
I thought we did that already.
I just want. Well, I mean, like we've picked up people since then. So everybody, we're retiring Geraldo.
We're raising the Geraldo video into the rafters.
Yep. And this is your new beginning and ending for the future.
We are the Moonanites, and our culture has advanced beyond all that you can possibly comprehend with 100% of your brain.
Oh, is that so? And what's so advanced about it?
Well, for one thing, the moon has 1/3 less gravity than your Earth. I don't know if you can understand that, but our vertical leap is beyond all measurement.